Hi there, welcome to this video. Before we're gonna dive deep into the actual order flow, um, let's start with cards, right? So cards are essential for users that are browsing your product catalog, choosing the products that they are intending to check out, and especially when it comes to, for example, having multiple cards, right? So because there can be scenarios where you may want multiple cards simultaneously if you are, for example, purchasing products for multiple locations or customers at the same time. Right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how we can create a card, how we can add line items to a card, and also how we can have multiple cards within the same session. So different from other e-commerce platforms where usually a cart is a separate entity that eventually get converted into an order. OrderCloud is starting always off with an unsubmitted order, right? So if you have a cart, it is already an unsubmitted order, right? And the great thing is you can have multiple orders if you're a buyer, right? So you can have multiple unsubmitted orders, no problem, right? So that means that each unsubmitted order can be a card, right? So a buyer can have multiple cards simultaneously, right? So first of all, we have the orders API, all right? So if you want to manage those different orders, right? Or you have one unsubmitted order that you are managing, you can use this API. But there's also a card API, which is making it a lot easier to handle card actions that you are doing, right? So for example, getting a card or adding a line item to a card, or for example, adding a billing or shipping address to a card, or adding promotions to a card, right? So that is all available via the card API as well, right? Ultimately, underneath it, it's still an unsubmitted order, right? But the card API helps you to manage the state from for which order you are using as a card, right? And it also allows you to switch the underlying order between the card API, and that will be persistent within the session of this user, right? And a card can be an anonymous card, right? So an anonymous user can create a card, right, as an unsubmitted order as well. And as well as, of course, a authenticated user, in which case the card will be stored against the user ID of the authenticated user, which means that every time that user logs in, they can keep the same card. Also good to note that OrderCloud does clean up cards. So when it comes to unsubmitted orders, right, OrderCloud does clean up orders, right? So when it comes to anonymous users, then it is up to between 7 or 60 days, right, depending on your configuration. If it's a card of a user, it will be up to 90 days, right? Which is from the last updated date, right? So the last time there was activity on that card, right? Whether it's updating some property on the order or changing a line item within that card, that determines the last updated date, 90 days from that. Um, any unsubmitted orders that don't have any line items will be removed within 24 hours. All right, so let's start playing around with the API console within OrderCloud. Let's try to create a card and add something to our card. All right, so it's actually very easy to just create a new card and add something to my card. Right, so for that I'm gonna use the API console here, and I'm gonna add a new line item to my card. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the card API, and I'm gonna go for create a card line item. All right, and I can just add a product that I already have, and I get one quantity here, and I'm gonna add that to my cart. All right. Now what you see here on the right hand side is this is the line item that was created, right? So this is not the actual cart, right? But this is the line item within my cart. that was created. Okay. It already took the appropriate price, the price from the price schedule on that product, right? And I've quantity one over here. And at the same time, it also took a snapshot of the current state of the product, right? So if that product later changes for whatever reason, right, the original product will be stored on this line item, right? So now if I go to my cart, I can retrieve my cart over here. So you can see here, this is the actual order, right? And it has status unsubmitted, right? So this is the order that was created. And similarly, I can go to view the line items on my unsubmitted order, and there you can see my line item. Right, so this is actually a new card that was created from scratch, but just by adding the line item to the card, and the card API already took care of creating the unsubmitted order. So I created a little app that is my storefront for my fashion marketplace. Over here, buyers they can order products right from our catalog, and we allow buyers to have multiple simultaneous carts at the same time, right? Even though they can only check out one card at a time, right? But they can add multiple products between multiple cards at the same time. All right, so this is a next.js app using the OrderCloud JavaScript SDK. All right, so I'm first gonna go to the card page. So here you can see we can have multiple cards, right? So I created two. One is for my birthday and one is for Christmas, right? So I can have multiple cards, right? And depending on when I'm ready to buy it, right, I can check out that particular card, right? So now first want to shop for my birthday, and I'm gonna go to my products and I see some very expensive shoes here, and I'm gonna add those to my cart, right? And now I'm gonna go to cart page, and we can see that for my birthday, I got these shoes in my cart now, right? But in the meanwhile, I also saw something that I maybe want to buy for Christmas, right? So I'm gonna switch over to my Christmas cart, and I'm gonna go shopping, and then over here I'm gonna buy this speed jumping rope. All right, and then you can see it's added to my Christmas card, right? So now I have two cards that each have one line item that I can choose eventually to check out whenever I'm ready. Right, so these are two separate orders, right? So two separate unsubmitted orders, right? So you will also be able to see here in my browser console, right? It's basically checking the unsubmitted orders, right? That are bound to my user, right? And those are two orders with the status unsubmitted, right? So if I now switch back to OrderCloud, and you can see that I've impersonated as the test user, right? I can check what is my active card, right? And that is this one, right? And at the same time, I'm also gonna go to my orders, right? Oh, sorry, that's not the not the right one. Yeah, so over here you can see that I have this order and I have this order, right? So what I'm doing in my app is I am switching between between both orders, right? So whenever I click here, right, I'm switching my card between those two orders, right? So if I go back to my card endpoint, right, you can see that over here the ID is, I believe it's the same as the one that I just selected, this one. But if I want to set another the other order to active, right, I can use the API over here, which is the hang on, set an active card over here. And this way I can use a different order and set it as active, as my active card. Right, so I'm now gonna have from 846, I'm gonna switch to CDD. Right, so now OrderCloud switched the unsubmitted order active to my session. Right, and over here it's now switched to the other order. Right, so using the card API, you can have one card, have one particular order active as a card at that time, right? And you can switch that using that put request. So this was the video about the cards. Hopefully it has been useful. And I'm gonna make some other videos for the rest of the order flow. It is quite a lot to grasp when it comes to orders within OrderCloud. So I highly recommend to review those other videos as well. But yeah, that was it for this time. Hopefully it was useful. Thank you for watching.